don't know if you can see these very well, but these are tiny onions. And I started growing them inside in February, and I nurtured them inside, and then I just transplanted them a few days ago, and they seem to be doing well. So yeah, so I'm excited. That seems to be successful so far. I don't see the one over here. There's one. Seem to be missing one there. So anyway, that is exciting. Starting my gardening year, and on the other side, this half of the bed is the onion bed, and then over here, I forgot to bring them out. I'll bring them out and show you, but I'm gonna broadcast lettuce and mustard green seeds on this half of the bed. And then over there, I'm going to plant potatoes. I try to plant my potatoes around St. Patrick's Day. So those are the red. Some of those I bought, and some of those are just from organic red potatoes that I let sprout. And then over here, these are the Yukon Gold. Last year I tried baking potatoes, and they were just tiny. They were like pebble sized. They never grew. So I'm gonna just stick with these. I've had success with both of these before, and frankly, I think I like them better than the baked potatoes. So, all right, so let me go get my seeds and my kneeler and my trowel and all that. Give you a shot of the daffodils blooming underneath the fig tree. Isn't that pretty? That's what I'm going to broadcast, which means you just sort of toss the tiny seeds over the soil and hope for the best. And it works with lettuce. So I have this wild garden mix. And then I have this early Mizuna. I don't think I've ever planted mustard greens before, but I'm gonna try them out. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So here are the potatoes laid out. Some of them didn't look so good. They're over there. We'll see what happens. So it's only the first two columns or whatever lines up there are yellow, and then the rest are red. So I'm just going to basically cover them, maybe bury them a little bit, but then cover them with the mulch and the soil and the compost that I put in there a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, that'll be it. Potatoes and lettuce and like greens like that are so easy to grow, to plant. There's really very little effort. Here's the after picture. That took about 3 minutes because the soil and the compost and everything is pretty loose. I just nestled them in and then hilled them, covered them. And the trick with potatoes is you have to keep coming out and hilling them over, covering them over in these little mounds as they grow so that they don't get exposed to the sunlight. So now I'm going to water them in, and that's it. I'm done. I just came in from my gardening. I did it just in the nick of time because the workmen are here. They are actually the area beyond those beds that I was showing you. It was this wild area, but it's still part of our yard, but it was just overgrown with a lot of invasive species, and I was trying to get rid of them slowly, and it wasn't working. So I think it was last summer, we hired just some people, like they cut trees down and stuff. You know how they come down your street and they ask you if you have any work? And we said, yeah, actually we do. And so they cut out all the overgrowth, and they put cardboard down all over it and then covered it with mulch. And it's been just sort of, we're more exposed to people. There's a public path down there. The dog is always barking at people walking their dogs down there and stuff. So I want some privacy, and I wanted it to be like a native habitat. So so they're here now. So we have a gardening company that comes out 6 times a year. And we hired them to do this new project where they're going to plant all these native trees and stuff, hopefully fast growing stuff that will be aggressive and not let the invasive species grow back, because invasive species are really good at growing fast and out competing the native plants, so which actually support life. The the reason why the invasive species can grow so fast is because they don't have any natural predators. And so that's why people like them in their landscaping, because they don't have to take care of them. But when they escape out into the wild, they start taking over everything, and then it becomes more like a desert where you know, the ecosystems can't survive. So anyway, that's what we're doing out there. But so I'm going to make this quick, and I just spent 2 minutes explaining why I'm going to make it quick. Anyway, what I wanted to do is, it's mid-month about mid-month, and I thought I would just talk about the mysteries that I've read. I haven't read that many, only 3, but I did finish this on March 1st. They do it with mirrors. I'm trying to get through this series of this edition of Agatha Christie stories with Miss Marple. And so this was an excellent read. And then I went on to read this one, A Pocket Full of Rye. And man, this was a good one. I really enjoyed this one. This one I kind of figured out who did it. This one I did not at all. This was very good. I really enjoyed this one a lot, A Pocket Full of Rye. And then I read a Mary Roberts Rinehart, The Door. So I think this is like her 3rd most popular. If you don't know Mary Roberts Rinehart, she is, I think, an underappreciated writer. She was extremely popular when she was writing. She's called the American Agatha Christie, but she started writing 20 years before Agatha Christie. And she was very prolific. Earlier this year I read, was it this year? I read This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and he talks about reading Mary Roberts Rinehart's books. I've read a bunch of her books. Oh, I didn't bring my list with me. I think this is the 10th book I've read by her. The last one I read was called The After House, and it started out really, really well. The first half of it was really good, and then the second half didn't deliver. But usually I am not disappointed in her books. So she was she wrote maybe 60 books. She wrote a lot of plays. She wrote short stories. And she actually lived, I live in the DC metro area, and she actually moved from Pittsburgh, that was where she was from, to DC because her husband was a doctor and he got a job with the Veterans Administration. So she was sort of a society lady in Washington, D.C., and her house is now the embassy for Zambia. Yeah. Anyway, she's very interesting, and I don't know why more people don't know about her. So I read this book, The Door, and it was a great mystery. This is classic. A particular saying that we say, kind of a trite saying that we say about mysteries, comes from this. I mean, it's based on this. She really was, a trendsetter or whatever. It was very suspenseful. I just didn't want to put it down. I couldn't figure out who did it. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And I wish more people knew about Mary Roberts Rinehart, took her more seriously. I think she's been overlooked. So those were the 3 mysteries that I read for March Mystery Madness. I really want to go on and read more Agatha Christie, but I've got other things that I would like to do. Like to read. I have a lot of ongoing things right now. Right now I'm reading The Lord of the Rings. That's my audiobook. I haven't gotten to that in the last couple of days. I'm reading The Tenant of Wildfeld Hall, which is a Bronte book that I have been meaning to read for decades. I'm finally getting to it. And I'm just getting into it, but I had a little bit of a hard time getting warmed up, but now I'm into it. And then I'm also reading The Martian Chronicles, which I have the same problem. I think I'm in a mystery mood, but I'm making myself read other things. It took me a while to get into The Martian Chronicles, and it's still not going to be my favorite, I don't think, but I am appreciating it now. So I have about 90 pages to go in that one. So those are my other books I'm reading, but I just wanted to do a gardening and mystery reading update. So yeah, so there we go. All right, I hope you're doing well. Happy reading.